Welcome to Talkin' in EPA. I'm Paula Dagnan. Children, they certainly are a very precious commodity in our world, and sometimes they need a little bit more help than we can give them. So we turn to folks like Luzerne CASA. What is CASA? What is Luzerne County CASA? We're going to find out about all that when we come back right here on Talkin' in EPA.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Renai, and trained comfort specialists, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
Physical Therapy and Balance Centers. It's spelled different because we are different. Physical is unlike any therapy center you've been to before. If you're tired of living in pain, if you want to move better, overcome an injury or balance disorder, or you just want to improve your strength and conditioning, our highly skilled team of medical experts will help you get back to living the life you enjoy. New mentality, new body, new life. Get physical.
Have your event with Whitetail, graduation, birthday, bachelor, reunion parties? They have the most tranquil backyard experience with beautiful mountains in the background. If your company or business wants a different alternative to a golf outing, they have outings that can accommodate you. You can have the entire facility to yourself. They will work with you to set up your day of events. Sporting clay competitions, trap and wobble trap games, skeet. After a day of shooting, you'll return to a meal designed for you. Call Mike at 570-535-6123 for available group options.
Did you know that WYLN News provides news updates every weekday afternoon
at 1, 3, and 5 here on TV and on social media?
Did you also know you can watch WYLN News on the go by visiting our website or YouTube page?
Now more than ever,
WYLN is your local news leader. Thanks for joining us today on Talkin' in EPA, and today we are going to be talking with two of the folks involved with Luzerne County CASA. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to our guest today. Joining us is the Executive Director, CASA of Luzerne County. This is John, I knew I was going to do that, Achakevich, because I've been pronouncing it for 2 days. I've been practicing, John.
Thanks, Paul. You did very good.
Well, thank you. And Bill Pollard, how are you?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
Good. Bill is actually a volunteer advocate with CASA of Luzerne County. And there may be some folks who are watching this program today wondering, what is CASA? What does it stand for?
It's a great question. We always begin with the acronym CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates. So our mission is to recruit, train, and support volunteers like Bill from our community, who then become appointed by a judge to serve as an advocate for a child who has suffered abuse and neglect in Luzerne County, many of whom have been removed from their homes and are placed in foster care because of that abuse or neglect. And currently in Luzerne County, there are more than 500 children in foster care placement because of abuse or neglect.
Wow. And does everyone have a CASA volunteer?
Well, currently we have 63 volunteer advocates, and we're serving more than 70 children. Our mission is to provide every child in Luzerne County suffering from abuse and neglect with a court-appointed special advocate. So with 500 children in foster care placement because of abuse or neglect, our goal is to increase our number of volunteer advocates. So we're always recruiting, we're always seeking to identify more people who want to embrace this volunteer experience. One of the strengths of the court-appointed special advocate model is that when the judge appoints a volunteer advocate, it is to one case and one child or sibling group. Oh. There's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, if you will, between the advocate and the child. So that's why we're always seeking more volunteer advocates, because of that 1-to-1 relationship. That's what makes the CASA program unique and special, I believe.
Well, let's meet Bill. Bill Pollard.
Yes.
How did you get involved?
Actually, I got involved back in 2015, hearing a public service announcement on TV on late night. So I appreciate the fact to be here, hopefully get the word out to more people, because that's actually how I found out, was through a public service announcement.
A public service announcement?
I always had an interest in, trying to figure out a way how I can help kids. And that public service announcement led me to going to the office, attending an information center, going through the training, and 4 years later, here I am, 4 cases later. But that's really how I got started. And that's why I think it's important for folks like you and WYLN to get the word out, help us to get the word out, so that we can, like John said, recruit more advocates, because there's a huge need in Luzerne County.
Now, I am just totally taken aback by that, because I've never heard anyone say that they actually, when you do a public service announcement, that anyone actually took the action to do it. What drew you into it?
Like I said, I always had an interest in helping kids, and when I heard about what CASA does, they don't help just kids, although kids in general need help. They help kids who are in more need of help, right? So they're already having difficulties in their life because they're in the dependency court, because they've been subjected to neglect and abuse. They're not just, kids growing up in a single parent home, but they're kids with special needs. And when I say special needs, I mean by being in the dependency court. So I thought, what better group of kids to help than kids in dependency court.
So, John, when you have someone such as Bill who comes to you from out of the community, are you looking for certain people, certain type? I didn't ask Bill what his background was, but I'm wondering if he came to you and said, I don't have any background in this, would that make a difference?
Well, at a minimum, the volunteer needs to be 21 years of age and a high school graduate and complete all the necessary background clearances. But I think it's more important to have the soft skills that demonstrate a commitment to a child, because first of all, the volunteer advocate is expected to expend 10 to 12 hours per month on the case, and at a minimum an 18-month commitment, because that's how long on average these children are in foster care. So it's the desire, it's the passion, it's the willingness to make that level of commitment that first and foremost is what we are seeking. We provide the training based on the National CASA curriculum for the substantive areas that the volunteer advocates will be trained upon. They'll also undergo courtroom observation, and each volunteer advocate is assigned a staff member to provide the appropriate supervision and support. It's not a volunteer experience where, the advocate is assigned a case and check in with us, every time you go to court. No, there's expected to be a good level of communication between the member of our staff, the volunteer advocate. Every time an advocate appears in court, he or she is accompanied by a staff member. The report that they submit to the judge is co-authored by a staff member. So our retention rate of volunteer advocates is about 90%.
Wow.
So that's the role that we feel our staff plays with the volunteer advocate to ensure that their questions are being asked, they're being provided with the appropriate guidance and level of support they need, because it is a unique legal system, the child welfare dependency system.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go back to Bill. You're not a lawyer?
I'm not a lawyer.
Social worker?
Nope.
Grade school teacher?
Nope. I'm a safety manager for a nationwide construction company. This is the second job that I've had since I've been an advocate. I've been very fortunate that my scheduling is flexible, but there are a rigid work schedule I don't think would prohibit anybody from being a CASA.
So that's probably one of the first things, is you have to be able to make the commitment.
Exactly, and when you say commitment, like John said, the commitment in my mind is a time commitment as far as the commitment of doing the things that need to be done. A lot of times these kids have people coming in and out of their lives. They have lawyers coming in and out, they have different caseworkers, they have different probation officers. But if a CASA volunteer makes the commitment, you know, that they could be the one familiar face and voice throughout their whole experience in the dependency court.
I just think that's fascinating, that here's somebody who is had nothing to say, oh, well, I understand that. You were right from the ground floor learning everything. That's great. And we're going to find out more about that when we come back. We are very excited today to be introducing a lot of people to CASA of Luzerne County. And when we come back, John and Bill are going to tell us some more about that. And you know, they also have a lot of fun things that they do as well. And we'll be talking about those too. Talkin' in EPA will continue. Don't go away.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
When emergency strikes, trust your care to the all-new ER at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton. With a facility that's now twice the size. Experienced nurses who see you right away. A quick assessment process makes sure you get the care you need. Advanced technology on site. Safe, private treatment rooms, and a peace of mind that only this level of care can bring. When it matters most, trust your partner in emergency care. Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark.
Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close.
Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars with laser illumination technology for just $39.99. You'll also get a protective carrying case, yours free. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling Atomic Beam flashlight, just pay separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-401-7146. That's 1-800-401-7146. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Tune in every Sunday night on WYLN from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for hard-hitting, high-flying, non-stop action as only Pennsylvania Premier Wrestling High Voltage can bring you. That's Pennsylvania Premier Wrestling every Sunday night on WYLN. I'll see you in the ring.
WYLN has strong ties to the community and it's committed to important causes like the American Cancer Society and Helping Hands Society telethons. WYLN's commitment to Pennsylvania continues with the broadcast of Hazleton's Fun Fest Parade and the Christmas and St. Patrick's Day parades in Wilkes-Barre. In the summer, we broadcast the Weatherly and Giants to Spare Hill climb. And throughout the year, we provide important community services through the broadcast of town meetings, school board meetings, election night coverage, and other community events. WYLN, we're your local network.
Welcome back to Talkin' in EPA, and today we are talking with John Ochakevich and Bill Pollard, both from CASA of Luzerne County. And John is the executive director. We were getting a little bit of a background because volunteers and volunteer advocates like Bill are very important. And do you have certain times of the year that you actually try to get everybody together, or how does becoming a volunteer work?
So we do 2 trainings each year because they're 9-week sessions. We do one in the spring and one in the fall. So for those who are interested in becoming a court-appointed special advocate, we also hold information sessions where you can learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, and the process to become a court of special advocate, learn more about the training. And they're done at our office about once or twice a month. people can go to our website, LuzerneCASA.org, and find out when those information sessions will be held. And in addition to the training, advocates also undergo courtroom supervision. So, as I said, it's about a 30 to 35 hour training. We follow a curriculum utilized by the National CASA organization out of Seattle, Washington.
Bill, when you got your feet wet and you went to the initial meet and greet and sat down and heard, because I think it is one thing to want to help children, but when you're talking courts, families, a lot of personal information, that must be sometimes a very, I don't even know what the word would be. I don't think it would be scary, but intimidating, perhaps.
And that's the word that just came to my mind. It can be intimidating at first. I think if you have a little bit of a background in maybe public speaking, and you know, you certainly can't be afraid to speak up. And it can be intimidating at first, I think, for some folks. But with the support from John and from the staff at the office, I don't think it's anything that anybody can't overcome. What I would say to people who think that might be a concern, there are only a bunch of human beings in the courtroom when you're in, and all I would say is just don't be afraid to speak up, and don't be intimidated. No, I look at volunteer work as there's not a lot that I can do wrong, and that's one thing that I try to keep in mind, and that helps me to overcome the nervousness and the intimidation.
We recently had an adoption case, and after every case is closed and we meet with the volunteer advocate as sort of an exit interview, and we talk about the experience, and we said to this particular volunteer, you know, you were such a good witness in court. You know, what do you think was the key to that? And she said, first, put the time into your case. So that if you have put the time in, you are going to know more about your child than anyone else in the court system, whether it's someone from Children and Youth or the lawyers or even the judge. So if you are prepared, you can then speak knowledgeably about the child and with confidence. So it really is a matter of putting in the time and being prepared, and then let your heart speak, because you're really the voice for the child. First and foremost, you're there on behalf of that child.
Wow, that just speaks volumes. When you talk about volunteers, and you were mentioning that you're always looking for volunteers, men, women, you said you have to be 21. Do you kind of try to pick and choose from different areas or different backgrounds?
No, we really don't. We have 63 volunteer advocates currently. However, only 9 of them are men.
Oh.
But the children that we serve are, for the most part, evenly divided between boys and girls. And it's particularly helpful to have a male advocate for a teenage boy, just because of that particular age, that particular time. And we find that, unfortunately, many of these teenage boys have not had a good role model, a male role model growing up. So if there was one need that we had with regard to volunteer advocates, we would like to have more men advocates.
Oh.
But
and I can attest to that too, Paula. So the 4 cases that I've had, they've all been boys, and to varying degrees. None of them had really good, strong male role models in their lives. One was with a father who wasn't a bad guy, but he had his challenges. Mm-hmm. The case that I have now, again, not a lot of strong male influences in his life. So to John's point, I think it's really important that guys get out there and at least consider doing this, because you know there are boys and girls out there that need help, and sometimes it just makes a lot of sense to put a man advocating for a young boy.
What is that like when because teenagers can be teenagers, and when you're dealing with a child, and I don't want to call teenagers children because we know they're not, but when you're dealing with a young person, you have to get that bond, and sometimes that's just very hard to do.
It can be very hard to do, especially considering the circumstances.
Right.
So, and what I mean by that is, you know, the kid might be placed in placement outside the home. He might be in a foster home. So you just got to kind of figure out simple, easy ways to make the connection. I had a case, my last case before the case that I'm on now. What I used to do was, during my visits, I would take him for a walk. We'd go walk a couple blocks down to the public park. I'd let him run around and play. And it just helps him to be a little bit more comfortable and help him to open up. So it really depends on the circumstances, and it depends on the kid too, right? Some kids are more talkative than others, which makes it easier.
Trust.
Yes, yep.
And that trust is not going to develop in the first month, 2, 3, or 4 with the advocate and the child, but it is that level of commitment and consistency that really makes the difference. You know, I really believe that 80% of success is showing up. So if you're going to tell, you know, your child, I'll see you next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, you pretty well be darn sure you're going to be there Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And if that continues, whatever level of commitment you've made to that child, because we expect that a volunteer advocate's going to see, you know, his or her child twice per month. And if you do that over the course of time, they know that you are sincere. They know that you're going to show up. They know that you care for the child, and you know, you have a genuine interest. And most importantly, you're a volunteer. You're doing this because you want to,
exactly,
for no other reason than to want to help the child. That message eventually sinks in. And you know, I'm serving as an advocate for a 16-year-old boy, and I will tell you that more than anything, they just want to do things that other kids do. And food is often a commonality.
Yes.
You know, this particular boy loves Arby's, and he always gets the same thing at Arby's.
And John has become a very big Arby's fan now. So now we know what to get him. When we come back, we're going to talk some more, and we do have they've been seeing pictures, so we'll talk a little bit about some of the pictures that they've been seeing as well on the air. So don't go away. We're talking Luzerne County CASA here on Talkin' NEPA on WYLN.
CARES is a local and family-owned agency dedicated to providing exceptional services for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities throughout Pennsylvania. CARES specializes in day and residential services, respite, home and community, behavior supports, and chaperone vacations. At CARES, the participants are the VIPs. Now contracting life-sharing and respite providers, CARES, empowering individuals to maximize their opportunities and potential in their community.
What's on TV? Plenty. WYLN TV 35, the best in local programming.
You've seen university advertising. A student like me pitching you the same old ideas. But I'm not gonna do that.
Instead, I'm gonna tell you what you can do with a Penn State degree. You can help anyone. Go anywhere. Create! And with 20 campuses to choose from, you'll always feel at home.
Look, Penn State is amazing, but your best years are just beginning. Come find out for yourself.
Hi, I'm Julia Wiegand, the newest news reporter for WYLN News. I'm so proud to be part of your #1 local news team. WYLN News. When local news happens, you can count on WYLN News to be there, whether it's in Berwick, Tamaqua, or right here in Hazleton. We work hard to be your #1 local news station, and will continue to work hard to stay #1.
wrapping things up here today on Talkin' NEPA with our friends from CASA of Luzerne County. And John, it's not all just the fact that, you have all these things going on. You're riding bicycles in the office. We saw your picture. How did that happen?
As I said, we had someone from the community donated a bike for one of our kids. And I think it might have been a stressful day in the office, and I thought I could use a little bit of time just to do something silly, and someone caught that on their phone and shared it with the rest of the world.
And that's what we like. Those are the kind of things we enjoy. And you get funding?
We do not receive any county, state, or federal funding. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so we do rely upon 2 fundraising events as well as some grant money from foundations and the charity of others through their giving, both individuals and corporations. But we have a really special event coming up on April 2nd, NEPA Sings. It's a voice competition because one of the sayings of CASA is lift up a child's voice, a child's life. So we had auditions. We have 12 finalists who will compete essentially for the best singing voice in the Valley.
Okay, and that's one. Now what's the next one?
And then in the fall, which has been our most significant fundraising event, and it'll be our 5th annual in September. It's usually the 3rd Thursday. It's themed on the movie Casablanca.
Ooh.
And last year we had it at the 40 Fort Airport. It was hugely successful. We had more than 400 people there. The evening was just beautiful in terms of the weather, but the setting was perfect. And we raised a substantial amount of money, more than $100,000. And it was a huge success. And we're planning on our 5th annual again this year in September.
Wow, that's terrific.
So there'll be a lot of information coming out for that.
Now, Bill, I'm sure as we wrap up here today, you could use some other volunteers. Can you make the pitch?
We sure can. So, as John already said, we're always looking for volunteers, man or woman, particularly males. John mentioned earlier, I think there's 11 male volunteers around that. When I came in, I was actually only the 2nd active male advocate, so could definitely use more male advocates. And the other thing I would say too, not only consider becoming an advocate, but I get it that not everybody's cut out for it. I would also ask everybody to talk it up with their friends and their family, and help us to get the word out to other people that this is an option for people to get involved in their communities and to help kids out.
And John, one more time, you don't have to have any kind of a special background.
No, you do not. And there is flexibility. Bill is employed full-time, except for court dates, which are generally twice a year, every 6 months. The majority of your advocacy can be done on your own time, evenings, weekends. So I think Bill can probably speak to that as well. So it is doable, because very often people will say, well, I work full-time, I can't do this. Yes, you can. There is flexibility in how you do your advocacy for your child.
Can you, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, most of my visits with my kids happen late afternoon, early evening, or on the weekends.
Oh.
So, and it's just because that's the way school's laid out and their placements are laid out. It's actually easier to do it on off hours in the evenings or the weekends. But it's definitely something you can do.
And to work it into your schedule.
To work it into your schedule. And of course, we want advocates to attend court hearings. But there's also workarounds on the occasion that you can't attend.
Well, we want to thank both of you for being here today, and John Achikevich and also Bill Pollard for joining us from CASA of Luzerne County. Thank you both so much, gentlemen, for all the work that you do.
Thanks
and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Paula.